Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my SmackDown review. Also going to be reviewing the Mixed Match Challenge. And if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded a few hours ago, I did an unboxing of WWE 2K19 for the Xbox One. So if you guys haven't checked out that video, definitely go check it out. I uploaded it a few hours ago. So, and also got to mention, there won't be no Survivor Series review on Sunday. I'm going to be working Sunday. I get off at 7:30, so by the time I get off, Survivor Series is a half hour in. So, won't be a Survivor Series review on Sunday. Hopefully, maybe Monday. So, we'll see what happens. So, yeah, so SmackDown tonight was from the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. And this was SmackDown's go-home show for Survivor Series. And I gotta say, I enjoyed SmackDown tonight. This was a good SmackDown, in my opinion. And it was a very bizarre SmackDown. Some crazy stuff happened on tonight's SmackDown. So let's get started with the review. Well, apparently today news broke out that the show started off with Corey Graves, Tom Phillips, and Byron Saxton. And this was where news broke out today, and they talked about this on commentary. Apparently Becky Lynch is not cleared to compete against Ronda Rousey this Sunday at Survivor Series because of what happened last night with Becky. Apparently Nia, as we saw last night, Nia ended up busted open Becky. Becky was bleeding, all on her face. So with that, she is not cleared to compete Sunday, which is disappointing. But that's what they talked about on the commentary. And then AJ Styles ended up coming out, and he said this Sunday at Survivor Series, for the second year in a row, he is facing Brock Lesnar. And he says every pay-per-view, every live event, he has been the workhorse since he got to WWE. He says he faces dream opponents, nightmare opponents, and beat them, all except for Brock Lesnar. So Styles goes on to say that he's getting a second chance, and he plans on doing more than surviving. And so we get Paul Heyman there. Paul Heyman was at SmackDown tonight. So he was out saying, last night he told Styles and the WWE Universe that there is no one but his client, Brock Lesnar, who wants to fight anybody more than AJ Styles. And he ends up saying, we are never going to see Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan. And he wants to state that it's a pleasure for him to have the best seat in the house Sunday when Brock Lesnar steps in the ring with AJ Styles. And Styles says to Paul Heyman that Heyman is trying to get under his skin, and he says that he has nothing but respect for Daniel Bryan, and that he tapped him out. And he says he hasn't forgotten about Survivor Series last year, which Lesnar won. And he says for 371 days, which was how many days he's champion. He goes on to say that he's gotten better for tapping people out, and Lesnar has become more vulnerable to tapping out. Styles says he could pin Brock Lesnar or tap him out, and Sunday it will all be about AJ Styles. And so Daniel Bryan ends up coming out and says to Styles they did have their championship match, and he made him tap out 2 weeks ago. And he goes on to say to Styles that he's looking for a reason to punch him in the face. And if Styles ever mentions Daniel Bryan one more time, he's going to punch him in the face. And Styles says Paul Heyman brought up Daniel Bryan's name. And so we saw Daniel Bryan then attacked AJ Styles. And Shane ended up coming out to protect Daniel Bryan and to separate the both of them. We had, the officials coming out, the refs coming out to, pull them apart. The crowd was going, let them fight, let them fight. And so then it went to commercial. But it was a good opening to SmackDown. AJ Styles and the whole, Daniel Bryan and him, throwing punches. So it was good. Then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, Shane and Daniel Bryan, they were arguing backstage. Styles ends up coming, and Styles is still arguing with Daniel Bryan. Styles wants a piece of Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan wants a piece of Styles. And Shane Shane pretty much had enough of it. And so Shane says the WWE Championship is on the line tonight. And he ends up throwing Styles and Daniel Bryan out of the office. So, it was crazy. Sorry about that, but moving on to the first match tonight. The first match was Jeff Hardy versus Andrade Cien Almas, and Zelina Vega ended up returning from her injury. So it's good to see Zelina Vega return by Andrade's side. And this was a good match. This was a back and forth match between Jeff Hardy and Andrade. I like both of these guys. In the end, Jeff Hardy ended up getting the win. He ended up hitting the Twist of Fate to Andrade, and also hit the Swanton Bomb also on Andrade to score the win. So Jeff Hardy wins the match. But yeah, so it's another loss for Andrade. It's not looking good for Andrade. Because this guy so talented. If you watch his matches from NXT, especially that match that he had with Johnny Gargano, Andrade should be holding some gold right now. He should be a champion right now, in my opinion. So all in all, it was a decent match between the both of them. Then we had Paige and The Miz backstage. Apparently, Paige and The Miz were watching a match from the TV. And Miz ends up saying to Paige that Daniel Bryan is no longer on Team SmackDown because Styles, Daniel Bryan is facing AJ Styles for the title tonight. And Miz is Miz is the replacement. And he promotes his new film. Also, Miz promotes his new film, The Marine 6, which came out today. And he says the new team member for SmackDown that's going to be replacing Daniel Bryan is Jeff Hardy. Which is cool. Jeff Hardy being the new team member for SmackDown Survivor Series team is cool, but I wish they would have had Andrade be the new team member. But Jeff Hardy is not a bad choice. And Miz was like, he wanted to kick off Rey Mysterio off the team because that was Daniel Bryan's pick. And and he's like, oh, we can't have the stench of Daniel, on here. And Paige was like, Paige says to Mysterio that he is still on the team, and Miz has to beat him. If Miz beats him, Rey Mysterio's off the SmackDown Survivor Series team. And Paige ends up telling Miz the match is happening next. And so that's, the backstage segment with them. Sorry about that again, guys, but after that backstage segment, we had Shinsuke Nakamura being interviewed heading into Survivor Series, where he's going to be facing Seth Rollins. And Nakamura says, last night, Seth said he wasn't thinking about him, and that Seth broke his heart, which was, funny when he said that. Just out of the way, he says it. He said it. And he goes on to say that at Survivor Series on Sunday, he will break Seth's face. So it was that little interview with Nakamura. Then we had Rey Mysterio versus The Miz. We've seen this match before. It was 3 times that they had this match in a month. 3 times we saw this match in a month. But, it was okay. It was a decent match. Back and forth between Rey and The Miz. At the end of the match, you had Rey Mysterio end up getting the 619 on The Miz. Mysterio went to the top. He was trying, he leapt off the top. Miz got his feet up, his knees up, and that led to The Miz, pinning Mysterio. Mysterio ended up kicking out of it, and then we had Mysterio ended up rolling up The Miz for the win. Mysterio ends up winning, and after the match, Randy Orton comes out of nowhere, tries to sneak attack Rey Mysterio once again, but Mysterio ends up, getting out of the way. And Miz ends up getting a RKO from Randy Orton. And, Rey Mysterio, got out of there very quick. So, but all in all, it was a decent match between Mysterio and The Miz, even though we saw, this match already with the both of them before. And then he had Paige. Paige came out welcoming the ladies of SmackDown to come to the ring. So we had Charlotte, we had Lana, Carmella, the Iconics, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Asuka, and Naomi. So that's your, SmackDown, that's your ladies of SmackDown. And Paige says to them that she invited them out because of Becky unable to compete on Sunday. And she ends up saying Becky is going to choose her replacement for that, that woman to face Ronda at Survivor Series on Sunday. And so Becky ends up coming out, and her face, her eye was looked really bad. She had a really bad black eye. And she ends up coming out. She ends up saying that she's angry as hell, which I don't blame her. I don't blame Becky. And she ends up saying she took a good beating last night, and that it hasn't stopped her before. And it was really cool how Becky, walked to the ring. How she always, how she's walking to the ring like a badass. I really enjoy that. And we had, she was like, oh, the WWE officials, told me not to, that I can't compete, and the crowd ended up booing that. Because, Becky is so over with the crowd. Ever since SummerSlam, Becky's become hot. The hottest woman superstar on SmackDown. And, like I said, I don't blame Becky being angry for that. This could have been a really good match between Becky and Ronda. It was a match that I was looking forward to. But as of this news, disappointed in it. Disappointed that we're not going to get it. We're not going to get Becky and Ronda. And she says, you know, she's been knocking on doors all day to let her fight. And last night she got a taste of blood when she beat half of the Raw women's locker room. And, you know, that got a big pop from the crowd. And she ends up going on to say that what she did to Ronda was a taste that she was going to do to her at Survivor Series. She ends up saying that Ronda is not the baddest bitch on the planet, but the luckiest. And so Becky then makes her, you know, her replacement, who's going to replace her to face Ronda. And so, you know, she's looking at Charlotte, she's looking at Lana, Carmella, you know, the iconic Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Asuka, Naomi. And of course, she had to pick that, you know, she had to choose that one choice. We all knew who she was going to choose. And it turns out to be Charlotte. And, you know, she picked Charlotte. And she says for Charlotte to make, you know, Ronda, you know, tap out. She ends up hugging Charlotte, and what pretty much looked like here was WWE wasn't doing, wasn't doing kayfabe, you know, was doing kayfabe, where we saw Charlotte end up, where we saw Becky end up hugging Charlotte. So apparently, pretty much possibly not getting Charlotte versus Ronda at WrestleMania, or who knows? They may do it twice. We might see Charlotte versus Ronda twice, but who knows? But yeah, so Charlotte is going to be facing Ronda at Survivor Series Sunday. Then we had Charlotte, of course, was being interviewed about facing Ronda. Charlotte says she spent, you know, fighting with Becky, you know, helping Becky. And she ends up saying this Sunday she will be fighting for Becky. And that Sunday she is going to beat Ronda and see why Smackdown is the figurative brand. So, and then she, you know, lays out a big woo. So it was a little interview with Charlotte. Then we had Cesaro, Sheamus, and the Big Show versus Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Big E, the New Day. And this was, you know, decent. This was a decent, okay match. It was entertaining, at least in my opinion. But the end of the match, Big Show ended up hitting a knockout punch to Kofi Kingston, and Cesaro, Sheamus, and Big Show end up winning the match. But all in all, it was a okay, decent match. Then we had a promo from the Usos. The Usos were back there with the tag teams. They were back there with the Clones, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, and also Sanity. And, you know, they're giving a prep talk to these tag teams. And the Usos say that, you know, this is unity. And come Sunday, it's lockdown. And they go on to say, welcome to the SmackDown Penitentiary. You know, words towards the Raw tag team. The Raw, you know, tag team got Survivor Series guys. And then we had the main event. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. And this was a good match. This was a good main event. Back and forth between Daniel Bryan and Styles. These two guys, you know, look like they know each other very well in the ring, because, you know, this is not the first time they end up competing against each other. And the end of the match, we saw AJ Styles. He ended up going for the phenomenal forearm. Daniel Bryan ended up shoving him Styles ended up punching referee Charles Robinson with the phenomenal forearm. And it led to Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan ended up low blowing AJ Styles. And then Daniel Bryan ended up hitting the flying knee to Styles. Daniel Bryan goes for the pin. Daniel Bryan wins the match, and Daniel Bryan is the new WWE Champion. And it was a shock. It was such a shock. Didn't expect this from Daniel Bryan. So apparently, it's now going to be Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar on Sunday at Survivor Series. I mean, I was looking forward to seeing Brock Lesnar and Styles go at it again for a second year, but apparently that's not going to happen. So Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series Sunday, and of course Daniel Bryan ended up turning heel for this. So does this make Brock Lesnar a babyface now, considering Daniel Bryan is a heel, just from what we saw tonight? So, but it was a shock. It was a shock to me. Daniel Bryan win the WWE Championship, turning heel. So, but it was crazy. All in all, it was a good main event between Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. And back to the Becky and Charlotte thing, where Charlotte's replacing Becky. Apparently, from what I see, is they're still going to continue with Becky and Charlotte, and this is probably going to lead up to the Four Horsewomen going at it, which is the Four Horsewomen of WWE, which was Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch versus the Four Horsewomen of the MMA, which is Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke. Sorry about that again, but it's going to be leading up. Them doing this is probably going to lead up to the Four Horsewomen of WWE, which of course was Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch versus the Four Horsewomen of the MMA, which is Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir, and Ronda Rousey. This is possibly going to lead up to the Four Horsewomen angle at WrestleMania, if WWE decides to do that. So if they do that, that's gonna be awesome. That angle is gonna be awesome with all the Four Horsewomen of WWE and the MMA. So I hope WWE does it. So yeah, so that would be pretty cool. So, but yeah, like I said, Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, it was a good main event. And shocking Daniel Bryan win the WWE title and turning heel. So now on to the mixed match challenge. This was a decent mixed match challenge this week. First match on the Raw side, it was Ember Moon and Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley and Mickie James. Decent match, very fun match. Ember Moon and Braun Strowman make a good tag team together, mixed tag team together, and it was just Bobby Lashley ended up trying to take down Braun Strowman, but Strowman wasn't going down, and so the way Lashley took Strowman down was he ended up kicking Strowman. Lio Rush ended up getting involved in the match, but in the end, Ember Moon and Braun Strowman win the match. Ember ended up hitting the Eclipse on Mickie James to score the win. And so Ember Moon and Braun Strowman win it. And it was announced that the winning team of the Mixed Match Challenge will go to the Royal Rumble. And whoever wins, they will enter last at number 30. So can you imagine Braun Strowman coming out at number 30? Which that would be cool. And Ember Moon coming out at 30. So, but that would be cool to see. And so, all in all, it was a decent match. And for the Raw side next week, it's going to be Natalya and Bobby Roode versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. Whoever loses the match, they will be going home. As they will be out of the competition. So yeah, we get that next week. Pretty much we all know who's probably going to win it. And then for the SmackDown side, we had Charlotte. We had Charlotte and Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy ended up replacing AJ Styles because Styles, was too disgusted to compete in the Mixed Match Challenge because of what happened, because of him losing the WWE Championship to Daniel Bryan. So Jeff Hardy was the replacement for AJ Styles. So it was Charlotte and Jeff Hardy versus The Miz and Asuka. And this was a good match. This was a fun match. Back and forth with them. The Miz and Asuka end up losing the match because this is the first loss of the Mixed Match Challenge. And Charlotte and Jeff Hardy end up winning. Charlotte ended up blocking in the figure 8 on Asuka. This was Charlotte and Asuka in a match since WrestleMania, where Charlotte ended up breaking Asuka's undefeated streak. And once again tonight, Charlotte ended up locking in the figure 8 on Asuka. Asuka ended up tapping out. So it was what we saw at WrestleMania all over again. So but Charlotte and Jeff Hardy win in a decent, fun match. And for next week on the SmackDown side, it's going to be Lana and Rusev versus Carmella and R-Truth. So that's for next week for the SmackDown side of the Mixed Match Challenge. So yeah. So anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's SmackDown and also the Mixed Match Challenge. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Definitely give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and like I said at the beginning of the video, if you guys haven't checked out my unboxing of WWE 2K19 for the Xbox One, definitely go check it out. So until the next video, I'll see you all later.